Hi, it's Bruce here again. Now I'm just going to show you how to pull Welsh plugs out of the Suzuki F10A engine, and we'll do a big one and a little one. And this is the way I've done them for a long time. Usually start at the bottom or somewhere where it's pretty easy to get at. Try and drive the bottom in. It would be better if I had a screwdriver that had the steel going right through. And once they start to turn, steady up a bit. Go a bit more. And just get him like this. We can do another safety thing if you're really in doubt about whether they're going to fall back inside. You can put a pair of vice grips or something on them, just to be sure. Just get in behind there and just peel them out. Look at that. Sometimes they can be that rusted out that you can drive the screwdriver through them, and that makes it more difficult. If that happens, then you've got to come out here onto the outer edge. And the danger is, if you're out here on the outer edge, you don't want to score where they've got a seal. What I'll end up doing, I'll probably get in here and probably descale that, clean that up a fair bit, might even get in there with a bit of 400 or whatever, just depending on how it is. The next thing people do is when they fit new ones, they're scared. They're scared to go past the chamfer. I don't know whether you can see that most engines have a slight chamfer. That one hasn't got very much. Most engines have a bit more chamfer on the edge, which makes it a bit easier to start. But it's always best if you can just get back in just behind the chamfer. A few other tricks too, you can put silicone on them when you fit them, and that makes them like a bit more greasy, a bit more slippery, easier to drive in. So we're going to now have a go at the little one. Little ones can be a bit more difficult to turn than the big ones. See how he's starting to turn slowly? But I'm running the risk now of whether he's going to drop down on the bottom of the block. Some people don't care, they leave them in the block, and as they rust out, the rust from these will go up and sit on top of their radiator cores, and then their motor will run hot because they've got rust from these working its way up, being pumped up on top. We'll go like that, we'll see if we can pull him out. Yep, he came out clean. Brass are easier to fit than stainless steel. These are just mild steel, nothing flash. Some people will argue that the brass or copper, whichever you want to call them, Welsh plugs here, alloy head here, alloy water pump here, that there'll be electrolysis, an electric current build up between the brass and the alloy. And some people will say these brass Welsh plugs will help corrode out the alloy head or the alloy water pump. Stainless steel are probably the best out of all. Stainless is tougher, harder, and much harder to drive in, much harder to fit. There's a few tricks about fitting them too, but we won't go into that today. We'll just show getting the old ones out. Of course, it's much easier to do now with the motor out of the car. Some vehicles have even got to pull the engine. I remember years ago I had a V8 Rambler, an American car, and the Welsh plugs that had it were right under the engine mount. And that meant to fix that properly, you'd have to pull the engine out of the car to get a good go at it. So all we're going to end up doing, we'll just scale that out, working our way around, we'll clean all that out, probably clean up the chamfer, got a bit of paint from where the paint job is, we'll just try and scrape all that up so that chamfer's nice. Get some new Welsh plugs. I prefer stainless, so we'll probably go for stainless, and we'll probably do another video on the tricks on how to fit them in and how far to drive them in. A lot of people only put them flush, which I don't think is far enough. It's best if you drive them in just past that chamfer. That's about where they normally fit it from the factory. So that's about it at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed this sort of information. I mean, it took me quite a few years to learn any of these tricks. And if you're just starting off trying to do a lot of these things on your own, with your own car or your own motor, it can be quite daunting, especially if you're doing a job like this and then all of a sudden the Welsh plug disappears down inside. This one's not too bad because I don't think it can actually fall down inside, but if we're talking Hullens and Falcons, a lot of cars like that, they can just fall down in here, and then you've got to try and get a magnet or turn your motor upside down if it's out the car. Get a magnet or wire to try and lift them back up and then try and get them out. So I hope this information's been of some use to everybody, and thanks for watching.